Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to the Professional Pastors Broadcast, where God's power and word is revealed. Pastor Diane Winbush, Senior Pastor of St. Petersburg Global Ministries, brings over 25 years of experience in ministry through God's apostolic and prophetic teaching. You will mature and grow in the Word of the Lord through tools, teachings, and resources from this ministry. Now, let's go to the broadcast.
And good morning and welcome to the Professional Pastors. And this is your host, Miss Diane Winbush. And so we're delighted that you tuned in with us on today. And so today we're going to be talking about Christian publishing, and we have a dynamic speaker on the show with us today, and it's none other than Miss Blythe Daniel. So welcome to the show, Blythe.
Thank you so much, Diane. So happy to be with you today.
Okay, great. So tell us a little bit about you first.
Well, I am a recent author as well as a literary agent. I've worked in publishing for the last 20-something years. I started young. I love helping people tell their stories in the form of books and, other curriculum and ways that people can engage with content. And so as an author myself, this year I've had the pleasure of writing a book with my mom, and so I have also walked in the shoes of the people that you're talking to today of wanting to write and wanting to know that their message matters and that they have a story to tell. So I have enjoyed working in publishing both in different publishing hubs in Nashville, Tennessee, and now in Colorado Springs, where I'm married and have 3 children. So that's a little bit about me.
Okay, perfect. So, what compelled you to start writing? Everybody has a start at the, so I don't know what happened. I think I just got up one day and my hands just went to typing, and so it was just something, especially for Christians. Christians feel that I don't think nobody's going to listen to my story, but they will. So what was your launching start for as becoming a writer and a literary agent? I'm sorry.
Yeah, those are great questions. And, for me, Diane, I started as a literary agent about 14 years ago. I had worked inside of a publishing house, a large Christian publishing house in Nashville, and so I knew what it took to be a writer. I worked with them and helped them with their marketing when I was in the publishing house, and I would look at their ideas with them. And when I started my agency, it was really as someone who wanted to help other people write their stories and write both fiction and nonfiction, primarily in the nonfiction area of Christian living and spiritual growth and personal growth. And so after working for all these years helping other people, I knew during that season that I wanted to do something on my own, but I just didn't know what that book would be. I knew I wanted to write a book, but, I think it just takes time, and it's just got to be the right book, the right book and the right time that God births in you as someone who wants to be a communicator in that form. So what really, I guess, changed from knowing that I wanted to write a book until actually sitting down and coming up with something is really about the message. And it was really the right time for this message that we wrote about mother-daughter relationships and the distance between mothers and daughters and the difficulties that mothers and daughters have in our culture today. So it felt like the right time and the right message. And so, my mom and I felt like we wanted to do this together because of our relationship and the difficult relationship that she had with her mom and being able to bring restoration. So once we, started thinking about it and putting ideas onto paper, actually a publisher reached out to me to tell me that they were thinking of this topic. So we knew that it was timely because publisher was saying we want to pursue this with someone. And so I think for people that are listening as far as, how do you know when it's your time? Like you've heard a little bit about me just compelled to write, just that desire was always there and just knowing that it was the right time. And I just encourage people to think about what is the message that you have and what is the timing for it. Sometimes we see a book that's in the marketplace and we go, oh, that's exactly what I would want to write about. And it might be that you continue to develop your book. If that one is new in the marketplace, it's probably not the right time to try and introduce something just like it. So there's a season for crafting what you want to write about and differentiating your message, and that's something that's a big topic. But I think it's the right timing and the right message that helps us know how do we get started to be a writer. So that's a little bit about the writing process, and really, as a literary agent, I do see a lot of different types of books being published in primarily the Christian market. And I think the thing that always helps me when I'm looking at people's ideas is, what is this person saying that I haven't heard anybody say before? In other words, what is this piece that makes me go, aha, I've never thought about that before? That's that compelling piece that I know is hard to craft sometimes for people, but that's what we look for from a literary agent standpoint. So.
Okay, wow, because, a lot of times, especially Christian women, I guess I can put that on the forefront. Christian women have a struggle as to where to start. They don't know how to be able to get all of their thoughts together and what have you. And so that makes it, kind of like a little challenge for them to be able to get started. And so I think it was this one pastor actually came to me and stuff. He was like, oh, I always wanted to learn how to write books and what have you and things. And once you be able to connect with other people, it can be able to be right there in your face. It's simple, but it's just sometimes I think it's just getting the tools and resources or obtaining them, I guess I would say that, the resources and what have you. And exactly what you stated, it's the timing. What is it that I have that's so comparable to what the readers would want to hear as of now? Because it's transparency. People be looking for... how to be able to navigate back between, life, church, parent, wife, husband, whatever, and things. And so, I think that's very, very important, and we should not be able to lose our vision on that. So as a Christian, how can others become motivated to write and publish?
So I do think that part of it is just the story that God's birthing in you as a Christian, that maybe it's something that you've lived, maybe it's something that you've seen really not being addressed the way that you would want to address it, either through fiction or nonfiction. And so it's really going to God and just saying, God, download into me, show me what it is that I uniquely can say. And I think that first step really is to pray and to ask God to show you what your unique gifts are. And, the first place that I would suggest that people really start to kind of put these thoughts is to start an outline. Because if you can write 10 chapters, like if you can start outlining what those 10 to 12 chapters would look like for a traditional Christian living or spiritual growth book, then you know that it's a sustainable idea. But if you only get to maybe 3 or 4 chapter outlines and you're like, oh gosh, I can't write this, or there's just not enough material here, maybe this is for an article or a series of articles on a blog or a website, that's when I need to dig deeper and I need to figure out what my angle is. What's the hook? So we always start with the hook or the theme of your book. And, that's really going to be where you write towards an audience who can connect with what you're saying. So it isn't just writing about my personal story of overcoming. It's about a book about, what to do when you need to triumph in a particular area. It's trying to help it be applicable to the reader. And so they want to read a theme that's something that they can relate to and that they can identify with. So you want to start with a hook or a theme that's unique. And one of the examples that I can give you is someone that I've worked with has talked about the kingdom of God in your home and what that looks like, bringing the kingdom of God in your home. And she relates different aspects of cleaning and taking care of your home, such as aspects of cleaning that purifies our hearts before God, and anointing your home with oil and what that looks like. And another would be the aspect of even vacuuming, of how that takes up the gunk in our homes, and what are we doing to take the gunk out of our lives. And so, that was kind of a unique way of looking at our relationship with God, of just some of the practical things that we do in the home. And so that was where she outlined, a number of chapters that went along with different aspects in the home. And so that's a really good beginning place. So that's what I would encourage people, is how to know how to be motivated would be, what is the idea that's just burning inside of you, and how can you state it uniquely where other people would get excited about it as well. And so I think the other piece of motivating people to write is just to stay with it and not give up. Because there's so many times that our breakthrough comes after we would have given up, and saying it's so huge to just stay with it. And a word I even saw recently was the word grit, and it really, I think, encompasses just that idea of staying with the idea and showing courage and grit and gusto to keep going when it would seem easier to give up. But to those who are the ones that complete the process are the ones that have stayed with it. So that's how I would encourage people.
Awesome. That is so awesome. In regards to, that you just have to stay with it. And, when it comes to, writing and things like that, and as I stated before, putting your thoughts down, and then, being able to find a place where you can be able to publish it, and so it can be, revealed to the, to the world. So, tell us about your agency. We're gonna switch gears now. Let's go to the Blythe Daniel Agency. Woo, big world. So let's go there. So let's talk about that. Tell the listeners about your agency.
Well, thank you for asking. And I started the Blythe Daniel Agency about 14 years ago, helping writers look at their ideas of, how can I take this idea and turn it into a book? What are the steps? And so I mostly respond to ideas that people send to me, but I do look at the ideas that people submit and think about who's the end user, who's the reader that's going to pick up this book, and what is he or she looking for. And so I spend a bit of time when people send me their book proposals, which is like a business plan, honestly. But you write a book proposal, or you write business plan for a new business, you proposal for getting a grant. So it's similar to that, but it's very specific towards what's the audience of the book, and who's going to purchase the book, and why do they need this book, and how are you going to market it. And so I spend quite a bit of time helping people identify how their book is unique from other books in the same topic. I also help them look at their marketing ideas and, who their audience is. So that's primarily what I do in the beginning stages of working with someone in our agency. And then we take them through the process of submitting their book proposal and sample chapters, or sample if it's a devotional, sample pages as such, to publishers. And so I work with publishers. I work with probably 30 to 50 different publishers, primarily in the Christian market, and I submit proposals and chapters to them to consider for their publishing team. And so it's a lot of back and forth with publishers and editors and the client, and making sure that we've submitted exactly what they're looking for, and we may need to make changes to what we initially started out with submitting to the publishers. And then it's all the way through going to get a contract and reading contracts and negotiating what would be fair for the author inside the publishing house, and all the way through when the book publishes, helping them through all the steps that come up between signing a contract and actually having a book in their hand. There are a lot of things that come up, questions that come up, and I'm there to help as a literary agent. So it is a busy job. It's full on. There's a lot of aspects to it. I think sometimes people think that a literary agent is someone who just gets you a contract, and we do a lot more than that. We do. That is a part of our job, but there's a lot more. It is a relationship between an agent and an author is a lot more like a coach and an advocate for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's primarily what we do in our agency. We also have over the years worked on publicity campaigns. So even if someone comes to us, they're not an agency client for a literary agent, but they want publicity help for their book that they've already published, or that maybe they're self-publishing a book and they want some help publicizing it, we do those projects as well. And built into that, we have a blog network called Blogabout, where we have over 650 bloggers in our network that review the books and Bibles and films that we send to them, DVDs. So it's a busy hub of both, literary representation as well as marketing, because we just feel that it's so important for writers who have spent the time writing their manuscripts, those early copies of your book before it's published, all the way through when your book gets published and marketed. We just feel like it's important for you to have engagement all the way through and to have a team behind you, and that's what we love doing it, and we've done it for a number of authors over the year, and that's just the joy of meeting new people and helping with new projects every year.
Okay. So basically, like as you stated, and you took the words right out of my mouth, like a coach and like a little mediator too. At the same time, you go in and be able to help the author, and then you have to go back and forth with the publisher as well if it has to have any changes. So I want to talk about your subheading, a boutique literary and marketing agency for creative communicators. So explain to us the keyword of boutique. What does that mean for you, as well as how you want that to be conveyed to the public?
Yeah, in the terms, like you see boutique stores that really specialize in a certain area, they don't try to do everything for every customer. They really specialize in a particular area. And so we specialize in literary representation as well as customizing marketing plans for authors. So we say, Diane, that we would rather go deep with the clients that we have rather than go too wide. So a boutique for us means really specializing with our clients that we have. We offer particular services for our clients that they might not get at other agencies, and so it really is a hub of specializing in both representation as well as marketing in Christian publishing. So that's primarily our focus. We do have some folks that are in the general market that are Christians, but yeah, that's really all that's designed to entail, is just that we take more of a customized approach rather than just try to give everybody the same thing and hope that works. We try to go deeper and customize with our clients. So I hope that helps explain that.
Yes. So another question that we have, and this is kind of it's like a maybe 2 to 3 part question, because sometimes individuals will get the misconception of the difference between a publisher and a self-publisher. Sometimes we feel when it's free, it's free. We can write our manuscript. We got all of it down. It's a self-publishing, but it's still on certain platforms. It's not doing anything. It's not growing. I'm trying to make sure it grows and what have you. So could you explain to the listeners, as well as myself, I'm a listener too, explain to us the difference between the two. Now, that's your agency, and so that can be a part of it, and then explain to them the difference between the two and which would be the best choice for the author if they're trying to monetize.
Sure. So a lot of people think that literary agents like myself also publish books, and we don't publish books, but we help you find a traditional publisher. So the traditional publishers would be the publishers that you see, when you go look at websites of publishers that have been around for a number of years that offer royalties to the author. So you don't pay them to write your book; they pay you. Some publishers pay an advance upon royalties, which just means they pay you some earnest money up front. And then some are strictly just royalty-based publishers that pay you after the book is published. You will start earning royalties on the book. So that's what we would qualify as a traditional publisher. And self-publishing is where you pay a company to publish your book. You pay them a certain amount of money to edit your book and come up with a cover and print it and distribute it to different channels. And so that is a self-publishing model where you are still going to get distribution, and you will still have a published book in your hands at the end of the day, but it's just a matter of you paying them. Now, sometimes in our industry over the last probably decade, there have been what we would call hybrid publishing, where the company will pay you some royalties once your book starts earning, but you do have to pay them some money up front to sort of prime the pump. Like it's a hybrid between traditional publishing and self-publishing, where you are paying some money up front, but then you earn money back once the book starts selling. And so that's called hybrid publishing. And there's a number of publishers that maybe don't have the ability to front some money to you or take all the investment up front. They want the author to buy in as well. And so that's why that has become popular, is that authors are seeing that they can earn back from the money that they put into it. So those are the three different types of publishing. And, the question that you asked about how does someone know where they should start, one of the biggest things right now for gaining a traditional publisher is having an audience. And it's people that come to you for your topic. It might be that you have a speaking outlet, you have a lot of speaking engagements, or it might be that you have a podcast like this that you have a lot of listeners on, or you have a blog that you've written and you're gaining subscribers, and you're on social media and you've got people that are following you and engaging with your content. When you have those things going on and you have them pretty solidly in process and building in process, then you would be a candidate to have a traditional publisher look at you, because you've shown that you can establish a connection with an audience. For someone who is starting out and doesn't have those things yet, probably self-publishing is the route that you're going to want to go, because you don't have the pieces in place yet that a traditional publisher would be looking for in order to invest their dollars in you. And so so probably self-publishing company would be the better way. And if you're not, completely sold on either one of those, and you'd like to try the hybrid where you invest some of your money and you hope to gain some of it back, because you know that you are planning to do some marketing, then the hybrid would probably be somewhere in between those two. Yeah.
Okay.
I hope that helps.
Okay. It does, because a lot of times, as I stated before, sometimes individuals they're looking for the monetization, and of course, some self-publishing platforms do offer different tips and tools, social media and different other places where they can be able to advertise. But as far as the speediness, if you're looking for it to be able to launch and you're looking for a return, like an ROI quickly, or within 2 months or 3 months, and things like that, it may be challenging for the book to be able to get to where it needs to be. It just depends. As you stated, it's your audience, it's your audience. And then also the topic probably would be, is another key factor that probably would, be something that an author would need to look at as well, to the topic.
Yeah.
And is it, interesting to the target that they're connected with, So
that's right. And you brought up a good point. You brought up a good point about timing, about how quickly you would receive a return on investment, and people can gain, they can get their books up on websites and CreateSpace and other avenues. Other companies that can have books in hand for you within a few months of you turning in your manuscript and having it edited. So that can generate more quickly than a traditional publishing route. Is going to take at least 12 months, if not longer, from the date that you sign a contract. So I think there is a longer lead with traditional publishing for those that have the time they're more interested in waiting. Maybe they've got longer. But for those who really want to publish more quickly, then the self-publishing route is more expedient, and you will often see more results monetarily if you're selling them for the price, that you want to sell them for, and you know how much money you've put into the process. So, I think the differences between self-publishing and traditional publishing would, one, be that the self-publishing, you are having to upfront the costs. You can make that back, if you sell a lot of books, to be able to earn back what you've invested. With traditional publishing, you do get marketing and distribution that you don't necessarily get, to a large degree with self-publishing. So that's one reason that some people choose to go traditional publishing, is because of what the publisher can help bring to the author that they wouldn't have on their own. So there's pros and cons, and I think I would encourage people to just think carefully about what their goals are and what's the best fit for them.
Absolutely, because I thought about, you had mentioned in regards to, how individuals are paid up front, and so I thought about, the book that Michelle Obama had written. I'm pretty sure that they went in there and gave her a flat fee, front off the top, and the one that got terminated from the President Trump's campaign. I think it was I don't know, he was like the head of the FBI director or something like that.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, and so I know when he had, I think they had like started the publishing the night before or something like that. So I'm like, wow. So, in regards to that, those are the ones that's going to really see an immediate, ROI. And so that's the reason why I wanted for you to, I guess, emphasize on that, because sometimes we're looking for, this is the best book. And then you look you type your title in and someone else has the same keywords that you have. And so you have to make sure that you're specific.
That's a great point, Diane. And that really is one of the first steps I encourage people, is to go on to Amazon and type in the keyword of your title or your topic and see what else comes up, because you don't want to suggest something or put something out there that's just like someone else's, because they will most likely, if they hear that title or they think about it, they'll go to that person's book rather than click on your book. And so that's a challenge.
Or the cat in the cat in the hat, and then you'll find probably 50 other books. It'll say the red cat in the hat, and sometimes authors will even go in there and try to strategically set their titles as another popular or famous type of title, so theirs can get noticed as well. So, individuals have their own strategic cues on that. So which would be the best? Well, I think we've already discussed that. So how can new authors build their credibility for their content and their book?
That's a great question, because you're right. The word credibility is so important in what you just asked about, because people want to buy a book from someone that they can trust. And so building credibility is really a few things. One is that you are engaging with people in the places where they will find you. And a lot of that's happening on social media right now. And some people have sort of a disdain about social media because they feel like it's, full of a lot of hypocrites or evil or whatever. And you know what? It's almost like inviting people over to your house for coffee. It is a place to hang out and talk to people. It's like the grocery store or the carpool line. It's places that you see people and get to talk to them. And so that's how I would frame it for people who are wanting to gain credibility, is to become social, is to become someone that other people are drawn to and want to talk to. And then I think another avenue to help gain credibility is to do some speaking and writing on the topic of your book, or a topic that you feel drawn to that will help you gain some credibility. It might be, starting some type of speakers, bureau in your area where you and others have topics that you can go to different meetings and share with different audiences. Like, you have a list of topics that you are able to share, and you become credible when you have content that people are interested in. And I think also writing articles is such a good way to gain credibility, to show that you have interest in your topic and that you can get published. And so those are just a few ways that authors can gain credibility. I think also getting people to write endorsements for you, some people who have already published and already been down this journey, to write, some words of endorsing you as someone that they go to, and putting that on your social media, putting that on a website or a blog, just to see that you have people who will vouch for you as a credible person to go to listen to, and to read. So those are just a few ideas of how authors can do that.
Okay, perfect. So we're just about out of time. So let the listeners know how they can be able to connect with you and any upcoming books or classes that you will be sharing with the public. You can do that at this time.
Okay, great. Our website for the agency is the Blythe, BLYTHE, Daniel, DANIEL, agency, the BlytheDanielAgency.com. That's a great place to see what we're working on. We also have, as you mentioned, classes, but we do video courses through something called My Influence Circle. And you can look that up as well, myinfluencecircle.com. And then the website for the book that I wrote with my mom is mendedhearts.com, ourmendedhearts.com. And those are a few ways to connect with us. We're on Facebook and on Instagram and Twitter. So, yeah, thank you so much. It's been so great to get to visit with you, Diane. Thank you.
And thank you so much, Blythe, for being our guest on today. And so we got tons of resources and information in regards to Christian publishing, and not just Christian publishing, it's just regular publishing. It'll be something to be able to help you in regards to becoming an author, as well as you can reach out to her company if you need further assistance. And I think it would be best to be able to get it on a paid platform than starting it out as self-publishing if you want to be able to get some returns immediately. So thank you so much, Blythe, for being our guest on today.
Thank you. Thank you.
See you all next Tuesday, everyone, at 10 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time.